Hello, it's Mr. Easton here again with another review video. Today we are going to review multiplication, and we're going to focus on multiplying by a single digit. I'll have to have a whole nother video for doing double digit times double digit because it's a little bit involved, but this one is pretty simple. I'm going to go over two different strategies. One is the standard algorithm, or the old school way, the way that I learned it, the way your parents learned it, and the way that I showed you in class. The other way I'm going to show you is the break apart strategy, and I think it's especially effective when you are doing a 2-digit times 1 digit, but we're going to use it for 3-digit and 4-digit times 1 digit as well. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one we are working on is 28 times 5. I'll show you the old school way first, and then I'll show you the break apart method second. Okay? So old school way tells us we start in the ones place and we do 8 times 5, which is 40. And so we drop our 0 and we carry our 4 up top. I sometimes like to put a plus sign there just to remind us that we are adding that 4, not multiplying it. So now we're going to go to the tens place, and it's at 2, so we'll do 2 times 5, which is 10, and add 4 more, which is 14. And since there are no more numbers to multiply, we drop both digits, and we have 140. Now, I really like the break apart method for this strategy because if you get good at that, you can do 2-digit times 1-digit numbers in your head without really having to write anything down. And so what the strategy is we break it into tens and we break it into ones. And so our tens is 2, so that means we have 20 times 5, and we have 8 times 5. So 20 times 5 is 2 times 5, which is 10, with another 0, 100. And then we have 8 times 5, which is 40. And so all we have to do is we add those two numbers, and we have 140. And again, we can get to the point where we could do 28 times 5 in our head by doing 20 times 5 and 8 times 5. There are only two numbers to keep track of, so it would be pretty easy to do in our heads. So that's why I like to show that strategy. Okay, now we're going to move on to a 3-digit times 1-digit number. We've got 426 times 7. And so again, we'll start with the old school method, and then we'll do the break apart strategy. We start again in the ones place. We do 6 times 7, which is 42. So we drop a 2. We carry our 4. Again, we could put a plus sign there to remind us. Then we do our tens place. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 4 more is 18. So we drop an 8 and carry our plus 1. And then we do 4 times 7, which is 28, plus 1 more, which is 29. We drop both the digits because there are no thousands to multiply. And we have 2,982. And again, the strategy would work in the break apart as well. There would just be 3 equations that we'd have to solve. We would be doing 400 times 7, 20 times 7, and 6 times 7. And essentially, with the old school method, we are doing that exact same thing. We do our 6 times 7 right here. This 2 times 7 is really 20 times 7. And that 4 times 7 right here is really that 400 times 7. The standard algorithm just kind of pushes it all together. And sometimes it's easier to break it apart to see exactly what's going on. So we're going to go back to our break apart. And 400 times 7, if you pretend that these zeros aren't there, we just have a 4 times 7. And 4 times 7 is 28. Since those 2 zeros are there, we have to put 2 zeros onto the end of it. Again, 20 times 7. Pretend that 0 is not there. 2 times 7 is 14. So we just put 1 0 on the end of that. And 6 times 7 has no zeros. It just is 42. And since I did not line those up properly, I'm going to have to write the new equation down here to add. And now we have these 3 numbers to add up. 0, 0, and 2 is 2. 4 and 4 is 8. 8 and 1 is 9. And 2 and nothing is 2. And you can see that we get the same thing here and here. It really doesn't matter which strategy you do. The more digits you have to multiply, I think the better it is to use the old school strategy, because you can see there's a lot less writing involved on the left half of the screen than on the right half of the screen. But if we're just doing a 2-digit times 1-digit number, the break apart can work just as easily as the old school way. So now we're going to go on to the last one, which is a 4-digit we've got 2,895 times 4. We're going to do both strategies here. So we'll start with the old school, which is start in the ones place. 5 times 4 is 20. Drop a 0, carry a 2. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 2 more is 38. Drop our 8, carry our 3. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 3 more is 35. And 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 more is 11. So we have 11,580. And again, if we were to break it apart, we just break it apart by place value. 2,000 times 4, 800 times 4, 90 times 4, and 5 times 4. And again, we're getting a lot of numbers here that are going to be written down. So perhaps you might want to use the old school strategy for a 4-digit times 1-digit. The choice is up to you, though. So 2,000 times 4 is just like 2 times 4. That's 8. There were 3 zeros, so we need to put 3 zeros on the end. 8 times 4 is 32. 2 zeros on the end because there are 2 zeros in 800. 9 times 4 is 36. 1 0 on the end because there is 1 0 in 90. And 5 times 4 is 20. And these are lined up, so I don't have to make a new equation, thankfully. Lots of zeros. 6 and 2 is 8. 2 and 3 is 5. And 8 and 3 is 11. So, still get the same answer either way. The choice is up to you as to which one you use, but you do need to be efficient at one strategy because there will be a non-calculator portion of the K-Prep, and it's important that we are able to solve these equations without a calculator. The other thing I would remind you to do is to make sure you double check your multiplication facts. Many people get these wrong, not because they don't understand the strategy, but because they may not know what 9 times 4 is or 8 times 4 is. They may say 9 times 4 is 35 or 32, I don't know. But I see a lot of people make silly mistakes on their multiplication facts, and they get it wrong because they just messed up on a 3rd grade skill, not a 4th grade skill. So, make sure you study those and remember those. I would focus on the 7s, 8s, and 9s because those are the ones that are the most difficult. This has been Mr. Eason with homework or with review help for multiplication. Look forward to a video on double-digit multiplication coming up soon.